Welcome to the 2024 COO Operations Sentiment Study Roundtable Panel. My name is Neil Brown, and I'm COO of the Operations Council. Let's take a look at our agenda. First, I'll cover some brief housekeeping and introduce our panelists. Then we'll get right to the study results and panel questions. We will have audience Q&A, so please use your GoToWebinar control panel to ask questions, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. We will have 2 polling questions as well, so use your GoToWebinar control panel to answer polls to benchmark your peers. And these polls will be the same questions as the study questions. Finally, links to this study report and this panel video archive will be available to all attendees via email in the next 24 hours. So with that, I'm very pleased to introduce our expert panelist, Courtney Rotman. Courtney is COO for Care Technology at Evernorth Health Services, a Cigna corporation. She has more than 20 years of experience serving in operations leadership roles, including St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, ALSAC, Baylor Scott and White Health, Susan G. Komen for The Cure, and Travelocity. Courtney earned a doctorate of business administration, a DBA, at the International School of Management in France just recently, in fact, and has a Master of Public Service and Administration, an MPSA, along with a JD in Law and a BA International Studies in History from Texas A&M. Courtney is a certified chief of staff and served on the Forbes Nonprofit Council. She currently serves as vice president on the board of directors at Nexus Recovery Center. Courtney, welcome to our panel today.
Thanks very much for having me, Neil.
Excellent. So let's get right to it. And this is our abstract. The important research seeks to understand how business environments are shaping C-suite planning, strategy, priorities, outlooks, and what CEOs and operations will do differently to manage in 2024 and beyond. The 2024 study identifies a COO financial performance index and a spending budget index that serves as benchmarks now and in the future. A national survey was conducted from November 23 to January 24 with more than 300 respondents participating across North America. So let's get to some key takeaways. Greatest concerns, or what keeps you up at night, include financial performance, talent, supply chain, interest rates, inflation, and geopolitical risk. Financial outlook, the 2024 COO financial performance witnessed a bullish 154% index, with 63% increasing and only 9% decreasing. Regarding financial metrics, increases are predicted for revenue by 72%, profits by 55%, gross margins by 54%, and cost increases for headcount by 55% and SG&A by 49%. The spending outlook, reduced budgets are anticipated by 32%, with only 20% increasing for a cautious spending budget index of 88%. And finally, work environments, majority 56%, and nearly 60% of organizations planning a hybrid combination of on-site and remote work environments, followed by a nearly equal 23% remote and 20% completely on-site. So let's get to our first question. What keeps you up at night? And at this point, we can go on to video as well if you'd like. So what are COOs' greatest concerns? What keeps COOs up at night? The number one rating in dark blue is the highest concern, listed lowest, weighted average to highest. So all concerns are ranked or clustered near the middle of the 1 to 5 scale. Organizational financial performance ranked highest with 31% concern, and along with the lowest weighted average. Talent a close second, and supply chain close third in weighted average. Interest rates, inflation, and geopolitical risk and recession follow. So Courtney, with that, what is your greatest concern among these and or other concerns?
Yeah, well, it's interesting to see where things kind of stack out. I'm not an anomaly, that's for sure. I personally always am most worried about talent retention and recruitment, and I think been increasingly so for me in the past few years, especially with the fears that we've heard from talent at various organizations associated with the role of AI and digital transformation. Those are passion areas of my personal study. And I think it's really fascinating because at its core, with all of the work that we do, people are the enablers of that. So I'm so pleased to see so many of my COO colleagues also focus on talent, retention, and recruitment as being a concern, but also something that they're wanting to focus on as well. So I think there's a lot to unpack there, and the study sort of is going to get at some of the heart of that, and I'm excited for it to be published and shared with this group.
And publish it will in the next day or so. We will be releasing that. So before we get to our next survey question, we wanted to do a poll. So I will launch this poll. What is your overall prediction of your organization's financial performance for 2024 versus 2023? Whoops. All right, so let's launch that poll. And attendees, please take a few moments, use your go to webinar control panel to vote, just to benchmark here. Take a few seconds. We've got most people voting. All right, so let's go ahead and share these results. Just briefly, number one, 50% increase. I'm going to make some notes here for our next, followed by 30% similar and 20% lower. So let's go ahead and close that out and then go to our next question, which is from the survey. What is your overall prediction for financial performance in 2024 versus 2020?
So I think what's really interesting about this, and all of the respondents, even in today's poll, sort of reflect that while we're anticipating growth, some of those concerns that we all have are cost drivers as well. So we're really talking about some exponential revenue growth, and that's exciting to see across our various sectors, represented on the call today and in the study. So while I'm anticipating, revenue growth at my own organization, just managing costs and keeping those in line with where we see ourselves not only this year but in out years, I think is going to be of increasing attention and importance, especially going back to what we talked about just a few minutes ago, the increased focus on talent. As a cost driver, talent is always up in that top echelon, but we can't do what we do without talent. So making sure other things are in line, leveraging AI are some of the things that I'm excited about, that's going to keep our overall financial margins in check.
Yeah, so let me just say a couple of things about we're mentioning a financial performance index here. So we have a majority 63% achieving better performance. Our poll was 50%, so poll's a little more conservative there. But we create this index by subtracting the increases from the decreases and multiplying it by the 100% base. So we have 154%. And this is interesting because we compare it to our CFO performance index, which is 139%. So it's much more bullish than